Hello, book lovers, and thanks for listening. I post new chapters every week. If you like my work, please remember to like and subscribe to help me build my channel. The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. Narrated by Jennifer Schafer. Chapter 46. Nicolette. We pinged him off a cell tower about 5 miles from here, May says, leaning into Brant's car window as we wait, parked outside Davis's trailer. I glance toward her squad car, making eye contact with Wren. I should check on her. Climbing out of the passenger side, I'm met with the sound of a second door, fully expecting Brant to try to stop me, to tell me to get back inside where I'm safer. I'm shocked to find it isn't Brant at all. It's Chuck, and he's headed toward the house. "What are you doing?" I ask, stopping to watch as he strides with the confidence of a man who's never known fear a day in his life. A moment later, he disappears around the back of the trailer. Perimeter check, perhaps? When he emerges, he heads straight for the trash, flinging the lid open and reaching inside.
"Hey May, get a look at this,"
Chuck says, holding up a colorful box.
"Kid's meal. Isn't that old either. There's mail in this trash bag from 2 days ago. Think I just found your probable cause."
My heart bounds in my chest as I look to Brant. May brings her radio to her lips. "We've got unmarked cars at every road leading up here, and we've blocked every exit. If he tries anything, he won't get very far," she says, heading back to the house. "Anyway, I'm going to need you to get back into your car." Running back to our idling sedan and climbing in, I watch from behind Brant's dash as May kicks in the front door and disappears inside, swallowed by the dark. Reaching for Brant's hand, I nearly claw my nails into his flesh while we wait, at times forgetting to breathe. A minute passes, then another, and another. My hope withers, but it doesn't fade completely. Glancing down the highway outside Davis's property, I focus on the distance, half expecting him to roll up and do something crazy when he sees us here.
"Nick."
Brant's elbow jerks against my arm. A second later, he's climbing out of the driver's side, his gaze transfixed on something. I follow his stare. Standing on the rickety side porch is Deputy May, holding the hand of a little blonde girl, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes. Flinging the door open, I chase after Brant. Wren follows. Everything happens in slow motion, and I can't take my eyes off that sweet face of hers. A face that feels strangely familiar and makes me cast away any and all doubts I held until this moment. "That's our daughter," I whisper into cupped hands once I come to a stop next to my husband.
"That's our daughter."
His voice is broken. He doesn't blink. Hand in hand, we go to her, to Evie, our Hannah, racing across Davis's gravel driveway toward the leaning porch, where the sweet angel shields her eyes from our pointed headlights. As soon as we get within a few yards of her, Deputy May shakes her head and places her palm toward us, stopping us from coming any closer. And it's then that I remember this isn't a joyous reunion. Not for this little girl at the center of it all. She's ours, but we're not hers. Not yet. As of now, we're strangers. The only mother she's ever known is gone forever. And who knows what Davis has put her through these last several months. "Evie!" Wren's voice comes from behind us, and the moment their eyes meet, Evie releases May's hand and runs to her sister. Sirens sound in the distance, and May reaches for her radio, bringing it closer to her ear. Before we get the chance to fully appreciate the joyful expression in our daughter's face and this long overdue reunion, the sear of bright headlights almost blinds us, and flashes of red and blue paint the front of Davis's trailer. Tires skid to a stop in his gravel driveway, walling the scene in a cloud of rock dust, and Evie hides behind Wren, tucking herself out of sight, and Brant shields me. Everything happens at once. The door to Davis's truck swings open, and a moment later, when the dust settles, I'm able to distinguish the outline of his hands in the air against the flicker of the squad car's light bar behind him. 2 officers guard themselves behind open car doors, guns pointed, and 3 more swarm Davis's truck. May yells for us to get down. Before I so much as blink, Davis is on the ground, his face planted in grit and gravel, while one of the deputies cuffs his wrists behind his back. "Nick, come on." Brant leads me to our car, walking me to the passenger side, all the while keeping his vision trained on the situation by the truck. "You're not going over there, are you?" I ask before climbing in, but he doesn't hear me. "Brant." "Just get in the car. I'll be back." I've been married to him long enough to recognize the corded steel look in his eyes, but before I have an opportunity to protest, he's gone. Stepping out of the car, I slam the door behind me and trail after my husband, but he's already halfway down the driveway, headed straight to one of the patrol units, where a squat deputy is shoving Davis in the back seat with minimal effort. Davis is gaunter than usual, a sign he's using again, and he doesn't put up a fight, doesn't so much as resist. But he's always more of a manipulative weasel than a fighter. "Brant," I call after my husband, who won't acknowledge me, and from several yards back I watch him say something to the deputy, who then nods and leaves the back door to the squad car open. In an instant, my husband lunges at his brother, fisting his shirt and dragging him out of the car. Davis lands on his knees in a cloud of dust, his hands still secured behind him. "Look at me, you piece of shit," my husband commands him. It takes a moment, but eventually Davis lifts his head. "You knew where she was this entire time?" Brant's voice is low, but I still hear him loud and clear. A couple of deputies keep their backs toward the situation, and another one is by the leaning porch, talking to May, who's suddenly taking an interest in what's going on, but doesn't appear anxious to come any closer. They're all turning a blind eye. Davis spits to the side, defiant in his choice not to answer. Even his current state of physical restraint doesn't stop him from trying to get one more rise out of his brother. "How long?" Brant's voice is deeper, grittier. Davis shrugs a shoulder before scratching his nose against it.
I don't know. The years tend to blend together anyway.
"How long?" Brant crouches, getting in his face. Davis laughs, and I'm sure under any other circumstances this would be a sight to see. My sweet-natured husband roughing up his brother. But the chuckle is all the incentive Brant needs to grab Davis by his shirt and lift him just enough before letting him drop. This time he falls on his back, his knees bent at a 90-degree angle. Brant's going to destroy Davis. He's going to destroy him in front of everyone. Brant is all the family Davis has left. Everyone else is long gone, and the ones who aren't severed ties with Davis years ago when he started getting into drugs and running around with the wrong crowd. It wasn't long before Davis started looking like the older of the two, bags under his cloudy eyes, teeth in desperate need of fixing, skin sallow and washed out. We always knew when he was clean, and when he wasn't. But all this time, and after all the antics Davis pulled, Brant has never once considered turning his back on his brother, choosing to remember the one he knew, the one he grew up with, the one with whom he rode bikes, traded baseball cards, and camped under the stars in the summer when it was hotter inside their house than it was outside. Davis was the one who brought him his first camera from the local pawn shop on his 13th birthday, who encouraged him to take pictures and even let him practice on him. Photography became Brant's escape as well as a way to control his chaotic reality. In the end, it became so much more than a hobby or a passion. It was a way of survival. He's never said it, but I believe Brant feels indebted to Davis for this reason, and I think that's why he's always been so quick to give, and even quicker to forgive. But as I watch my husband's shoulders tighten now, watch the lines between his brows deepen, and see the flecks of his teeth grinding as he stands over his brother, I know after this, Davis is dead to him. Why? Brant asks. His green eyes shift as he searches his brother's face. If he's looking for a sign of remorse, he won't find it there.
I took good care of her.
Davis says, as if that changes anything.
She was fed, got to watch cartoons all day. Hell, she was living the good life.
Brant begins to speak, but stops, his clenched fist lifting to the air and his lips pursing. He turns to me, shaking his head. He's not worth it, I say, and he never was. We loaned him thousands upon thousands of dollars, bought him vehicles when he had no other way to get to work, and bailed him out of jail more times than I can count on one hand. Not once did we get a thank you, and now this. Why? Grant asks once more, his voice hardened and edgy.
Do I really have to answer that?
Davis finally says.
Come on, Brant. You're not stupid.
If it was money you wanted, why didn't you just ask? Hasn't stopped you from asking any other time.
Shit, haven't I asked you enough? Gets stale. This way was win-win. You get your daughter back, I get to pad my bank account.
Davis's attention shifts to me.
And I could tell Nick was starting to get tired of breaking out the old checkbook. You were pulling back, Brant. You were starting to hesitate and make excuses. That well was bound to dry up eventually.
The last time Davis asked for a loan, Brant put his foot down of his own volition. As difficult as it was sometimes, I always bit my tongue when it came to financial matters between them. As far as I knew, the money Davis had been siphoning from Brant came from Brant's personal account, never my trust. You disgust me. My husband spits his words. You're sick, you know that?
I never heard her, just so you know. Told her I was her uncle. She got 3 square meals a day and all she could watch cartoons.
I'm done, Brant says as he gets in Davis's face one more time. Done. Davis begins to laugh, but it's cut short the second Brant delivers a swift kick into the side of his stomach. Writhing, he rolls to his side, knees curling in, and I spot the shorter deputy turn toward the commotion. We done here? She asks my husband as she shuffles back. Her pointer finger passes between the two of them. A black SUV arrives, and out from the driver's seat climbs a petite brunette with a shield hanging from her neck. Beth, perhaps? A man steps out from the passenger seat. Deputy May makes her way across the gravel the moment they spot one another. Brant's chest lifts and sinks, and his hands rest on his hips. A thin sheen of sweat collects across his brow. Sliding my arm into the bend of his elbow, I pull him away from his traitorous flesh and blood and back toward the flesh and blood that's going to need us from this moment on. It's over, I say, resting my head against his shoulder as we walk back to May and the girls. It's over. End of chapter 47.